really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Welcome. Fuck, are we on a roll, man? I'm done here in BC. They're sending me back. I had a great old time out here. And man, our last show, we hit like 2,500 views. Fucking people paying attention. People paying attention. I love what we got going on here. It's fucking great. Somebody requested a Great Rebellion story time because I haven't done any of those in a while. So before we get in and bring the B team in, I'm going to do a Great Rebellion story time because we haven't done one in a while.
TheGr8Rebellion story time! Learn about truth and our real history. Family friendly, prepare to rebel.
Love it. So here's the story. About every time this year I come out to the mountains and I do butane and NGL. It is fucking beautiful. The scenery is amazing, especially in the fall. The colors start hitting, and I can't complain. Can't complain at all. But this year, look, I want to show you guys something. You see this? You're not supposed to do that. I don't know. I got George into the NGL. Well, I don't know if I got him into it, but I recommended it, and then he went and did it, and that's how he's doing now, shaving all the time, right? Because you're not supposed to. When I came out here, I fucking made it a few days without shaving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm gonna go the whole fucking. I'm not shaving. I went to fucking Tommy Guns, man. I got a beard trim. I was like, we're gonna rock it. Fuck. I ran into one supervisor and he had a beard. Okay, then I knew I was safe. I was going to be okay. And then I told my dispatcher after about day 3, I'm like, I'm going for it. I got a beard. And I got a razor handy, so they're not gonna shut me down, right? They'll just tell me to go shave, and I got one. Yeah, fucking look at what you get. Rebels. It's religious reasons. Honestly, you should respect it. But that's my Great Rebellion story time. And here's a quick video of me cruising down the fucking mountain, and then we'll bring the boys in. And this is Taylor Hill. She's really fun. I put a video going up. It's boring. It's slow as fuck. If you watch the video, there's a guy broken down. Like, that's the shittiest place to fucking break down, is on this fucking hill, man. But here's me going down. I sped it up a bit. You know, I'm not really doing lightning speeds, but it's fun. Here you go.
Touch the sound of silence, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs, their voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence.
Oh, it's fun. Sometimes I'm like, they actually pay me to do this. You know, it's way better than a video game. I'll tell you that much. Especially when you got a bunch of weight behind you and you're trusting your brakes. You know. But yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for a while now. It's fun. It's fucking fun. Okay. Today, I was talking to Selgovae, and we haven't told Kirk this yet, but we're gonna let Kirk go off because we kept him pent up for a reason. Okay, because he's like, nobody's listening to the guy. I've been there. Okay, I know what this is like. I know what it's like. You know, and Selgovae knows it too. You're crazy. Because the truth fucking hurts you too much, right? It burns you way too bad, and now I'm crazy, and it sucks. It sucks being on the receiving end, and you think that it's okay and fine and dandy, and that's how it works. Wait till it fucking happens to you. Take it as a warning. Anyways, let's bring the boys
Now,
in.
next time you think you want to take somebody out, pal, get yourself a team.
Do what's right, and you can't go wrong. Take it from me, Mr. T.
Welcome, boys. How you doing?
Good. How's yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Like, people are listening, Kirk. Isn't that great? We got 2,500 views on our last show. And the one before that, a couple thousand, you know, like, people are watching, man.
Yeah.
They give a shit.
I say if you wake up one person and, every time we talk, it's worth it because that's one person that's, their life could get better. Where are you in BC?
I'm out now. I'm in Grand Prairie now.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my way back. I got to reset and then I can come home. Yeah. It's a nice time of year. It's hot though. It got cold last night. For the first night, I was supposed to start my truck, but I didn't. I just bundled up. But
Oh yeah,
it was cold. It got cold. So where are you at, like Kirk, with everything? Like, give us an update to the story of Kirk Riese and the government who is.
Oh, I'm still still just
crazy.
trying to get all these popular podcasters who call themselves journalists.
No, like a bulldog.
So
Mhm.
and I've just noticed there's a lot of turmoil with all these journalist politicians. I've seen a lot of these podcasters that are not all of a sudden politicians.
You're taking words right out of my own vocabulary, man. I've called them politicians. I called Ron Clark a politician fucking 2 years ago. Like, anybody who's in it for their own glory is a politician. That's a politician.
Yeah.
Unless you're there for the truth stands on its own.
Someone commented there. I put a post on X last night. What's the difference between a journalist, a podcaster, or a politician, or a wannabe politician, wannabe journalist, wannabe podcasters? And someone says, well, the podcasters, they just get their friends on over and over and start this propaganda. Well, that's what the politicians do.
Yeah.
I actually, I actually have a wheel of fortune or misfortune, I call it. It's got about 55 people I've reached out to that know my story and won't touch it. And now a lot of them are becoming politicians. So one of them says what did they say? It's a career ending if they want to become a politician to tell my story.
You fucking piss the right people off, Kirk. And what I love about you is that you don't shut up and you don't go away, and I get to help you do that. That's awesome. Because they're obviously annoyed, and they can't sweep it under the fucking rug. It stinks. It stinks like high hell. And you're not the only one. And that's the best part, is you're giving hope by fighting so fucking hard. You're giving hope to all the other guys it happens to. Because how many times has this happened and the guy will commit suicide and you never know, right?
Well, there's lots of people that reach out to me like all the time with similar terrible stories. David Drover's another one. JD and Prince Albert there, and it's all the same. It's all corruption with politics, and a lot of it's with the band. But I got people from the city of Edmonton contacting me saying it's rampant there. Like they work for the city, and it's just it bothers them that they have to stay working for these people that they're just stealing from everybody, right? And I noticed that someone was charged. One of Trudeau's, it's on my phone here, but just a sec. They were charged for stealing, but that's not on the news. But there's just too much of it, and my friend Dave, they bankrupted him and ruined his life, and me and my other friends, and that's what they do, is they make it so you can't work. So basically they're trying to get you to kill themselves. I actually had them say, like, just kill yourself, and so your kids can grow up with somebody else normally. And I was like, my fucking kids are doing pretty good here. They were tubing yesterday.
So they can live the lie, right? So we all can live a lie here. Can you just take care of yourself for us? Like, holy shit, it's insane. And it's rampant. It's all over. It's not. Check this video of the United States and tell me what it's like, Selgovae, what your experience is in the military.
The following video is a chart that was created by the Data Boys, documenting U.S. military deaths from 2001 until 2022. Give it a watch.
Something in the orange tells me we're not done. To you, I'm just a man. To me, you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around.
Yeah, I see that. I hear that from people. And that's the thing is, like, I always thought military were the bravest, most courageous people, willing to sacrifice for their country and their fellow man, right? And then I kind of realized that they're sacrificing the cream of the crop, getting rid of all the best men in the country. Sorry, Sal, what was that?
Well, that's one of the tactics is as they shift their consciousness, they know that the most threatening resistance they'll face is a veteran with a boutique of skills that will, and so they've targeted us. That was planned.
Yeah.
Straight to medication, right? And then you're crazy after that.
They had me up to 225 pounds and a regular blood pressure of 220 over 115. That's when they were caring for me with medication.
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to get my blood pressure under control. Actually, I just went to the doctor yesterday.
I saw all of the medication for the stuff they were labeling me with with the mind stuff, and I started doing natural stuff using St. John's wort tinctures that I made myself and things like this, and microdosing with psilocybin, cannabis use, and a lot of introspecting. And I found that was helpful, and I'm now down to like a healthy 220, and my blood pressure is down to 160 over 138, I think, which is 160 over 138 over 60, which is in a normal range again.
That's a dream of mine. They gave me one of those blood pressure things, and it's always in the red. So, but then.
Which is interesting because on the 14th, and news to Owen, there's a gentleman's reached out to me that's written a book that I used to work with. He worked in sort of pointy end of operations in the infantry in Canada. He was a sniper. We used to work together in the military, and he's written a book, and he's gone through quite a journey about mental health recovery, and he might be coming on as a guest. So.
That'd be freaking great, man. That'd be really awesome. That's totally what we're about. I got a video here to fire you up, Selgovae. I knew this would. It's a few minutes here. It's 5 minutes long, but I don't think I'll play the whole thing. But I know you'll get fired up.
We undermine the operational effectiveness of this nation. Prime Minister Trudeau's office put our safety at risk of our country in order to achieve a political aim that was just fucking bullshit vaccination virtue signaling, because they had COVID. So they posed no risk to anybody. And they were irreplaceable. It would take a decade to replace some of these people. And they were forced to pick up their family and leave a base, and they had served their country and they were treated like garbage, and nobody seems to care. But thankfully, this report from the MGERC, the author of it was really unpolitical and legally robust in the analysis. There's an amazing Section 7 analysis of why it was an illegal order. We need more people to engage in this discussion. But then when I was disgusted, I listened to this University of Ottawa legal professor get on there, and it was like he was employed by Pfizer, just kind of finding BS reasons to support the Liberal government. I'm not sure if that's where he gets his funding from, but there is an absence of political courage to stand up to bullies. And we took this matter to the federal court, tried to get an injunction from stopping these guys and girls from being released. We failed because the federal court didn't feel like they had the power to do it. What is most disturbing is the way that the Canadian Armed Forces and the Chief of Defense Staff himself, he was the author of this under the instructions of the Prime Minister's office, they were told it would be an illegal order to order people to take the vaccine. But they made the order anyhow. And what you should do in that case is charge the service member with failure to obey a legal order. They didn't charge any of the service members with failure to obey an order because they knew it would constitutionally not hold up. So what they did instead is they engaged in an administrative review process that would kick them out of the military. And you want to know what the reason they kicked them out of the military for? Failure to follow a lawful order. So think of the intrigue there. They knew that they couldn't charge them because it wouldn't be successful, but for political purposes, they destroyed their fucking lives and kicked them out for failing to follow an order that they knew was illegal. And these are the people who have served and shed blood for this country. And our country has lost invaluable assets and loyal soldiers because Trudeau wanted to use our military as public policy pawns, and nobody seems to care. So this recent decision is bittersweet, as I said, because it validates the concerns we were raising, but too late, because I called out the Chief of Defense Staff yesterday on CTV News. And I said, if you want to do the right thing, you still have time to reclaim your honor. You're in charge of, you can't get promoted higher than the Chief of Defense Staff. So stop being a political coward. Bring them back. The problem the soldiers face is when we tried to get an injunction from the release, the federal court said, oh, there's a redress of grievance procedure that they can put a redress in. But it takes 3 to 5 years to get that done. So these soldiers, sailors, and air people are shit out of luck. They've been kicked out of the military. They got to wait 4 years to see if they can get back in. By then, it's too late. And the Chief of Defense Staff today, with this ruling, could bring them back. And it's not doing it because he's a coward. And it's just continuing in the policy I'm seeing in the leadership of the Canadian Forces is do dumb stuff and don't correct it when it's clear it was wrong. What concerns me at a macro level about this, at a micro level, it breaks my heart to know that these people were kicked out and their lives were destroyed. They were just they were used as tools by political douchebags. But what concerns me at a micro level is our society is losing the ability to reflect and make good decisions, because this is not difficult. They just ruled it's unconstitutional, right? Why can't they sit down and learn from that and do the right thing? Instead, everybody is just digging into their position, making the other side an enemy and feeling like they're right at the expense of the public good. And I ask people, call your MPs and ask to get these soldiers reinstated, because it might be a small amount, but they served our country and we're
Okay, Selgovae, Sigum.
I know Philip.
Eh?
I know Philip.
Oh.
Yeah, Philip's aware of who I am. We used to work together. We not directly. We worked in the same circles in the past. We have people that we know in common. We lost touch with each other. Like, we separated from the orbits that we functioned in completely when I joined the nuclear industry. I bumped into him again at the beginning of this journey that I most recently went on. We had a conversation. I think he's evolved since that conversation, but I think you know, he openly discloses, and I knew that too before I even spoke to him. Like he functions within the system. He wants to make the system work.
Yeah,
And that is one factor is huge, because that's it. He's a smart guy. His time is money. If you're going to channel a gentleman like that with the amount of overhead that he has just to keep his office mode, you know,
I'm not challenging him. Actually, I agree with a lot of what he said. Especially
I do too. There was something that he said in it though, specifically. So the key words that you dial in on when he's speaking. So he says legally. So he had to say legally because there's another capacity that we're not going to go there. Is basically where he's going. He's saying within our system construct, there's a lot of things that are fucking wrong, and it should be done like this, and it should be done like that, and it should be that. I suggest that he is speaking with that dark hand of Section 7 of that policy, just tickling the top of his head as he speaks.
Here's my concern. We're on the verge of World War III, and you just fucked half our army, and you can't bring them back in. The intelligence people that have gained education, they can't be replaced for like 5-10 years right before we're on the verge of World War III. Somebody is up for treason right there. Whoever fucking pulled that trick off, because you just fucked us over to the enemy is what you did. You went and picked a fight, and then you went and pointed that those guys will deal with it, and those half of them are fucking not even there, and the rest are filling the tampon machines in the fucking men's bathroom.
The evolution of our military's leadership from a Korea era sort of mindset. I'm not talking about the tools we use, but the consciousness and mindset to the application of the job of being a soldier in operations. To where it's come to at the beginning of COVID, with a big crescendo at the end with Afghanistan, which was a war act, right? Like we were at war there. That was full on. That was a revisit of the past. In that timeline, a lot of things took place to our military to reduce its numbers, reduce and the retention of actually skilled individuals, because out in civilian side of things, an x-ray technician, a dentist, and like, you know, generally they come, they get their 5 years, they do their 5 years service, and then some are seduced to stay, but majority of them move on in their lives. So it's hard for us to retain. Yeah, it's hard. And yeah, I go back to the fact that Philip is I agree with a lot of stuff he says. I know that he's working in his lane. Me as a corporal, I'm working in a broader one. That's a lawful lane. And we know each other exists. You know, I'm happy to hear the dialogue that he presents.
Yeah. It's refreshing.
Well, I gotta, you know, I thought when he contacted me back, I would be saved and my story would get out. But instead, he said, "Kirk, I've been following your story for over a year. You're fucked." He said, he said you could pay me $1 million. And the government will just throw 10 million more at me. He said, "Look, I've been watching you. You seem to have a good life. You were able to survive. Just drop all this and leave it alone." I'm like, what about the other fucking guys that don't have the skills I had, that can't escape what they're in? And I can't do that. And he, you know, I thought he was gonna be my savior, because I saw him representing all these big buck generals and stuff for $10 million, and you know.
I wasn't as optimistic as you when I was given his number and I drove down to his office and saw him, but I got the exact same speech that you did. Yeah. I think the part that kind of stung me the most was in his office as he was telling me all of this. There was all our old regimental paraphernalia hanging everywhere, like the 10 Commandments of the airborne paratrooper, you know, pro patria, which is Latin for country.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an issue around that emblem. So, I mean, I've gone through a phase of just kind of like, you know, as an infantry guy, officers and your corporals, you know, the NCO class in the middle is a little different, but your old salty corporals and the officer class, they need to have a certain relationship. If it isn't present, you know, things can go down.
Kirk?
Yeah, well, same with when I went to file my grievances at CFB Edmonton. I phoned a friend of mine, he's Special Forces, and the guy I was talking to, Billy, was actually his boss for the whole time he served. And he said, yeah, no, he's fucking solid. He'll help you out. When I left there, he was pretty much crying like a baby, saying, we can't help you. You know, go home.
Well, he got Jimmy Top to plea. Jimmy Top took a plea deal. So in actuality, Jim didn't really achieve much in the trial aspect of his whole operation. He did unify the country, and not to take anything away from that. But when he got brought in, you got him to take a plea deal. You convinced him to take a plea deal. So really, all that happened was a precedent was set. It was justified what they did to him.
Someone's asking here if I can see the comments. I can see the comments. I just can't respond. I don't know why. But no one. You know, I don't know what Top. You know, I thought he would propel everything off, and I thought the truckers would propel my story out there. I thought I thought Jeff Everly would help me out. I thought Mackenzie would help me out. Not a.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kirk. Like, there's only so much any regular guy can do to help you, brother. All I ask. So, like, no, but what I mean is, let me finish. Jim raised an awareness. All right. So he did go across the country. He got attention. I don't care how he got it. I don't care who lens was put on him. What he was spitting out and the spirit that he was presented was in the right hemispherical direction that I'd like to see us start to go. I'm not going to be too fussy this time right now about whether if it's going in a direction that's on the side of light and good. All right, I'll nudge along with that. Fucking right. Because it ain't going in the wrong direction. And it ain't sitting still waiting to be fucking kicked in the mouth either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got respect for all those guys that tried, but what do you want? Like, for example, Jason Levine, what do you expect me to do? I said, just say, let Kirk Riese speak, you know, with my phone number. Someone will eventually phone it. Like all these people yelling at Trudeau, calling him a piece of shit or whatever. They've been doing that for 3 fucking years. It's not doing anything. But if you say let Kirk Riese speak, they're like, who the hell is Kirk Riese? Well, Trudeau definitely knows who I am. But, you know, they're hiding. Oh, yeah, I guarantee it.
Do you have a summary right now from the very beginning that you can detail within 5 to 10 minutes in a soundbite that you can cast right now? Like, just spit it out, man. I joined the Army at this time. I discovered at this time. I spoke to these people. This happened when I went here. And then we can see the progression of the flow. Yeah. See, one of the things in the Human Rights Act, just let me tell you something before you go. You let go. I want you to be aware of something. In the Canadian Human Rights Act, under Section 41 of the Act, there's a list of conditions that you have to satisfy, and there's timelines attached to it. However, if there's a nexus and point of discovery, these are two nuances that could make a difference about the relevance to you speaking now or speaking in the past. So, Section 41 of the Canadian Human Rights Code, you should review those 4 parts. It's Alpha through Echo, and understand how when you tell your story officially, that you make that nexus and nuance applications in order to not corrupt a reporting timeline that you would be limited to otherwise. And after this is over, rewatch this part and hear that word salad that I gave you.
Oh, yeah, you can just message me. But yeah, I do have it written out, but it changes all the time with more people that either way.
You get new discoveries. That's the nexus part that I'm talking about. You get new discoveries, new threads come to your awareness that makes something more relevant, and then therefore it's a reset to your story. Your story's now new. You just found this out. You just found this out now, so it's not like a 1-year timeline to report. You just found this out, even though you knew something. You knew there was a shit in the room. You just couldn't pick up the turd and hold it and say, "Look, there's a poop here." You could only smell it in the air.
Justin Trudeau claims that he still has what Canadians need, despite his abysmal polling numbers. A recent survey gave the Conservatives a 20-point lead over the Liberals, and 59% of surveyors had a negative opinion of Trudeau, while only 33% liked him. But when asked about his low approval rating, he said that Canadians aren't in decision mode yet.
And go. Once upon a time, there was a young Eskimo boy up in the north who wanted to be a ranger. Give her.
Someone said, Kirk, you should do a video of your story so people can share it at large. Yeah, look up Kirk Riese. You just have to Google Kirk Riese, military whistleblower. Mocha Bazurgan did a decent one. He came to the ship, looked through my evidence. He said, there's way too much evidence here. Like, and all of it is damning to the government. So he just did what he could. And, it was it's 23 minutes. But in that video, I'm talking to Shadow Davis. He said, who did you contact? I said, the Public Integrity Commissioner of Canada, Joe Friday, Julia Raybould, 100 politicians, 100 police. No one will touch this, so it's Anik Marie. Yeah, just Google Mocha Bazurgan Media, I've been on a bunch more, like 50 other ones, but hi, Danny.
I was trying to make something that I could clip there. Promote it.
Erased my history in the military.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Your audio, if you can get me audio, Kirk, I can turn that into videos at least.
See, and that's what everyone. I can't send emails.
Really?
It's like I on my phone, my friend's messages were all erased, and he says, "What?" It happens to me all the time, and the major says, "Kirk, all of your correspondence is monitored," and I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's pretty easy to pick up who's throwing down, right? So, that's a tough one, but I didn't expect to be talking about my story. Next time, I'll Facebook you to put on. But
I got a video then. Let's go next video.
There's so much going on in Canada right now that is an attack on our legal system. Not only have we seen numerous instances in British Columbia, the most notable being the British Columbia government attempting to legislate away the independence of lawyers and the independence of the legal profession and take control of the discipline and regulation of lawyers. We've also seen the Premier of British Columbia on numerous occasions make statements critical of decisions that judges made, exercising political interference into judicial decision-making. This is absolutely unhinged. But BC is not the only place where these types of attacks on our legal system and the protections that accused persons have in the legal system have been taking place. And I want to talk a little bit about a situation that's going on in Alberta. Alberta had a contract with the government for legal aid lawyers to provide compensation for lawyers representing people who are most in need of assistance in legal services. If I get a lot of comments on my videos, often they are complaints about the inability to access legal services because of prohibitive cost and the inadequacy of existing systems that prevent people from being able to properly defend themselves in court or properly advance issues. Legal aid plays an important role in this. But as of July 9th, Legal Aid Alberta has been unable to issue certificates, essentially the agreements to pay the lawyers to do the work and assign the files to the lawyers, because the government refused to negotiate a new contract with these legal aid lawyers. Already underpaid, already unfairly compensated. These lawyers are now not going to be paid if they take on these cases for people who are unable to afford legal services, who are the most disadvantaged in our criminal justice system. And it is absolutely mind-boggling that a government would not negotiate in good faith with a legal service provider, because the absence of lawyers doesn't make the system function better. No judge wants to run a criminal trial with a self-represented accused. No judge wants to have to deal with some people trying to sort out a complex family claim without having the benefit of lawyers. Lawyers facilitate an efficient system. They negotiate resolutions, they make reasonable concessions, they understand the law and the limits of what a judge can and can't order, and circumstances in which a judge can and can't order it, so that arguments are presented about issues that go directly to the merits and not extraneous things that don't have any impact on the outcome of the case. Lawyers keep the justice system functioning effectively and efficiently and fairly. And if the government doesn't permit people to have access to legal aid services, if the government stops providing legal aid services, which is effectively what's gone on in Alberta, it will grind the justice system to a halt. People need to pay more attention to what's going on in our legal systems and the attacks that government have been giving on our legal systems. While a lot of people are concerned about perceived rising crime rates, they're not rising. Or perceived increases in incidents of violence, it's not actually increasing. these issues don't go away if you don't give people the equipment and the tools necessary to navigate the justice system. It will only make the problem worse.
Okay, before I get distracted.
Whoa. Red hot on this one.
Who's first? Who's first?
I am. Me.
Fucking Kirk was in there first, though.
She gave a Philip Miller. So I'm going to give a Philip Miller quote that because we had him on, of a quote that Philip Miller did of a guy that we both used to work with. If you have two yes men, one of you was redundant. And what that lawyer was moaning and bitching about was captured in that phrase. If you have two, the judge is a yes man and the lawyers are all tied. They're all tied under the same beast.
Yeah.
And the beast is picking sides because there's no flag in the court. Remember the analogy I told you on the phone, Owen, about as a child in school. Remember how the teacher behaved when your mom was on parent night and how the teacher talked about you and how pleasant they were in front of your mom, and then how different the teacher was when your mom wasn't there? Think of the flag like your mom in the courtroom. All right? Mom ain't there. And this fucking teacher's swinging their fucking ruler and cutting wind over your fucking head. All right? So that's my 2 cents on that. Two yes men, one of is redundant.
Captain Kirk, let's go.
Yeah, one thing, we got to get David Drover on here because he's been lawfare massively. What's that?
You think you'd come?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
David Drover. Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I went for family court. It cost me $60,000, bankrupted me. You know, I was a great dad, good living, great family, no anything wrong, against just a miserable whole family, never worked, nothing, but they got 8 legal aid lawyers. And every time they changed legal aid lawyers because they lied so much, it cost me $5,000 to resubmit everything, right? Meanwhile, I'm not able to see my son, and he's living in, I'll be honest, I hired a private investigator. He said, Kirk, your son is at a crack house. So I phoned the police. They went to the house, and that's how I got custody of my son. And I said, just leave us alone, and goodbye, and it lasted for like 15 years. But it's all these legal aid defendants can afford to go against me. They all get paid the same whether they win or lose, And I've gone up against military, like when I was talking to the captain doing my grievances. I can't remember this judge or this lawyer's name, but he was against me in Larange, and he was ex-military. So as soon as he got out, he got his lawyers or whatever, or maybe he got it before that. I don't know. But you have to fight against these guys that know your whole fucking story, and they're paid by the government with our taxes to try to defeat us. And if I didn't have when I had all this evidence, like, trust me, I'm a good evidence. That's how I got how I am, was because I was collecting evidence on them. And then when it came down to court, the judge says, it doesn't matter what you have. Let's just talk about what's happening today. Holy shit, and that's how it is. It's just, and I had like the same people I accused, like Jim Searson, he actually came to wrote an affidavit, came to court to say Kirk's a great, hardworking man, honorable. And I accused him later of fraud, and then he says, Kirk's a dirtbag, he's a crackhead, and I have his affidavits. And,
I like
of course,
he said that.
He's the chief's husband, right? So, and who is a liberal nominee, Trudeau goes up to visit Larange all the time. And you've been to Larange, it's in the middle of friggin' nowhere. She failed in the last elections, but he still goes up there for truth and reconciliation. Come on, guys, like, connect the dots. And that's
lots
how.
Of crime.
There's another guy murdered like 4 days ago. Like, it's the murder capital of Canada. Like, it's just.
I think they take people up there to get rid of them. That's like Canada's Back 40, where you go bury people when you got to deal with some shit, and the cops and the military involved.
I 100%. I can't prove that, but I went to talk to the RCMP about it. They're like, oh, it's past the statute of limitations. I'm like, there is no statute of limitations on this. There's no statute of limitations on mine.
This fucking rotten corruption. Yeah,
no statute. And again, this is what Selgovae was talking about. There is no statute of limitation on mine because it's national security.
Yeah.
So
there is no statute of limitations on any criminal indictable act.
Yep. Yeah.
So just don't throw your hands in the air and wonder what the fuck happened when people were screaming it the whole time that it's fucking broken, falling apart, infiltrated, that it's rotten from the fucking inside. When shit hits the fan, don't say how this could happen, man, because people were saying it and not everyone was listening.
Yeah. Well, I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for 8 years, and some a lot longer. And but the one thing is, a lot of people come to me with their stories. I was like, well, where's your evidence? Well, I'm telling you right now. I was like, telling me isn't evidence. You need paperwork. You need recorded phone calls. Oh, I have nothing like that. I was like, well, I can't get my story out. At least I can play some of my recordings. What can I do of yours? Well, I'm telling you right now. Like, that's not going to help. It's like, I don't want to sound like a crazy person.
Hey? No. Okay, I'm gonna switch.
You have emails from the early stages of discovery. So like the lowest. So that's evidence.
Oh yeah, but no one will take it.
Doesn't matter. You got it. You got it, and you can disclose it. So it seems to me that actually the channels of disclosure that you've selected right now, just you haven't hit the right one.
Yeah,
I also don't know if I'm trying to figure out, and this is to help you. I'm trying to figure out right now if you've actually triaged the different limits of the different channels to which you apply. For example, if you apply through one process within the system, you can't use any other while that one does its time. And that one's timeline of reportings is from here to here. But this one has vaster capacities and wider jurisdiction with the same limitations, but over a longer timeline. And that's the case when you're talking about, like, for example, if you want to go after somebody in the Law Society versus because they're not going to go after them criminally, or and the Human Rights Commission, and are you going to go outside? Are you going to go outside the House? Are you going to appeal to the International Covenants? And how do you get there? How do you invoke that? See?
Yeah.
You go to Switzerland with a big middle finger after the gate.
Yeah, well, I can't. I can't leave Canada because I can't get passports for my kids.
I think these are some of the dimensional considerations that actually the vast majority of people in what we call the freedom movement in Canada, because there's so much thought put into a lawyer that nobody's considering that that's a limited existence. You're being possessed by somebody else, and they're speaking for you. You're limited by default. Remember the example I said. If you self-represent and you go to court, you're searched before you walk in the courtroom. The lawyer isn't, and the Crown isn't. So are you in a fair courtroom? Because you're presumed fucking not innocent on entry by your own consent. And these things matter, man.
Give me 1 sec. I wrote something down last night. It's in the living room. I got to grab it because it's kind of important now.
Yeah, sure. I'm playing a video.
Well, there are very obvious solutions. One is to arrest the traitors in the U.S. Congress and White House who have sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution, and somehow the American people have sat by while the president has afforded himself the power to execute anyone, anywhere, anytime, for any American citizen to be detained without any due process of law, no representation, incognito, and theoretically he could be condemned to death by a military tribunal in secret and executed. All of this operating under supposedly the United States Constitution. So all of these traitors need to be arrested first and foremost. When Netanyahu came to the Congress a couple years back, he received 29 standing ovations by these cowardly chicken hawk traitors. So the American patriots need to stand up and grab a pair and ultimately have some integrity and get rid of these traitors.
I love that kid, O'Keefe.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of makes me worried about, like, inspiring people through a strong presence as he presents.
Oh yeah,
the manifestation of what his inspiration creates, and just even small amounts can be turned into something that could backfire. And that's like, everybody has to remember how powerful Convoy was. How fucking beautifully powerful that was, man. And if people were to approach the courts with that same approach, why are you doing this to us? We all know, like, your game's over. Like, why? Like, yeah. Like, we're just gonna mock you now. That has huge impact. And
I got my notes here, and I'm gonna just hold on to them because I don't want to kind of show my cards a bit. I'll phone you, or we'll both of us will talk later. But yeah, never mind what I was going to say.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next Russia just carried out one of the deadliest strikes since the war began, and certainly the worst so far this year. 2 missiles impacted in Poltava earlier today, that's in eastern Ukraine, killing at least 51 people and wounding at least 235 more. Now, rescue and cleanup operations are still underway, so both of those numbers, 51 killed and 235 wounded, we should expect to go up in the coming hours and or days. Now, there's been some mixed reporting as to what was actually struck in this case. Most of what I've seen refers to the 179th Communications Troops Training Center. Other reports call this the Institute of Communications, with some mentioning that a nearby hospital was also damaged. So I should mention, while Russia, just in recent days, has certainly targeted civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, by all accounts, this appears to have been a military facility. Now, early reports coming out say the reason that the casualties were so high is that the missiles hit shortly after an air raid siren sounded, meaning that a lot of the soldiers and the personnel inside were moving to an air raid bunker when these missiles impacted. So they were out in the open, completely unshielded from these missile attacks. Ukraine has announced 3 days of mourning starting on Wednesday due to this incident, and President Zelensky put out a statement saying, quote, "The Russian scum will surely pay for this strike. We continue to urge everyone in the world who has the power to stop this terror. Ukraine needs air defense systems and missiles now, not sitting in storage. Long-range strikes that can protect us from the Russian terror are needed now, not later. Every day of the delay, unfortunately, means more lives lost."
I think she's done, boys.
Each one of those missiles that were launched are super expensive, and they don't throw them willy-nilly. That was targeted, and it wasn't targeted because a bunch of civilians existed in it. I can promise that. There's just absolutely no value in doing that with intention.
There's special ops training.
No one would press the button to launch to a hospital that I know. It just
no.
Unless the hospital was actually just a shell with a hospital sign on it being used as something else, then yeah.
Yeah, well, that's happened before in history. So
what I think is funny is that they walked into Russia thinking they were going to fucking do something, and it reminds me so much of World War II when France went into Germany. When Germany went into Poland, France went to war, declared war, crossed the Maginot Line into Germany, and Germany is like, okay, what are you going to do? And just kept pushing into Poland and fucking knocked them down in 3.5 weeks. And it's the same thing, that cursed salient like in World War II, but they did the same thing, man. Go ahead. What are you gonna take? Like, we just took your special ops training center. Like, where are you going? Right? Like, at what point are your flanks are taken?
Since the dawn of recorded history, Russia's best defense, the people that existed on that land we now call Russia, has been to retreat, extend them out, and then take them out. Every single.
You don't have to be a rocket appliantist to figure that one out, man. It's their main move. It's what they do. Or you never read a fucking book or watched even a war movie, man. Like, fuck.
Well, historically, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a historian or anything, but the people that lose, they usually do pretty good in the rebuilding, and the economy is booming, and sure, they lost a lot of their ancestors, and but look, the superpowers, Germany, Japan, they've all come back pretty strong. But
I don't know. Ukraine's different though. The way it was made, and how it broke off, and just it is. Yeah, I get to what your point is, and they probably will get a bunch of money to rebuild. Poland would be that example out of World War II.
I would suggest that in references to like Japan and all of that, Japan tried to surrender before they were bombed.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, they were living very close to the land, very self-sufficient, and they were totally independent and proud. What are they now? They're living stacked on one another like cordwood, eating noodles, and in this miniaturized existence. They were a culture that was completely shifted post-World War with an intention. And it was an experiment. It was an actual small scale. I suggest it was a small scale rehearsal experiment done with an entire culture. They leveled it first. And then they said, you're going to go forward like this, and we'll help you along the way, I suggest.
And then that's the other thing is who knows what to believe anymore, you know?
I believe in you.
Before people watched CBC in black and white, they believed everything. So
there's an ancient culture that exists.
Owen?
What's that?
Are you losing signal?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's an ancient culture there. It's called the Anu people. Check them out. Yeah. They've been there for a long
time. Back on union bartending job, Kirk.
I used to, Danny Jones, that's his real name, believe it or not. There's another guy named Joe Cooper. I met them in Laurent, Saskatchewan. I run a hotel and bar, the Motor Inn. You must have seen it. There's these two guys working there. I'm like, where the hell did you guys come from? I was the assistant manager. Well, we just hired us today. I was like, what's your name? Danny Jones. And what's your name? Joe Cooper. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They gave him like a $20,000 float. Two guys. Either way, we became friends. I ended up hanging out with him in Vancouver. And I went to Mexico on my motorcycle, but I stayed in Vancouver and I stayed at their house in Vancouver. And I got a bartending job on Hastings Street called the Regent right before crack came out, so I left just at the right time. But either way, he's commenting here. So, yeah, I'm glad he's still alive. I wonder how his cousin is. I think they were cousins. But either way, the word's getting out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're doing good here. This little show we got going on twice a week. I'm glad Selgovae pulled me out of a slump. I was incognito for like a month or two. And Selgovae's like, let's do some shows again, and then bring Kirk on.
Oh no, shit.
Look.
I guess Joe passed away, but yeah, no, that's right. Like my friend David, he was 10 years, and we got through friends and whatever. And I said, you got to tell your story. People's lives depend on it. 100%. Like, and he's been just giving her. I'm worried for him because he's got lots of shit, and it's dealing with all these. I was military. He was like lawyers and stuff, and everyone's got their little place. Like Bob Leone is protected children. I'm a little bit of military stuff. He's corrupt lawyers and shit. Everyone's got their place in telling these stories. And someday all the dots are gonna connect, and then we can actually all help save not only Canada, but I think the Western civilization. And that's just by everyone speaking up. I always hated bullies. I always stood up for everybody, and I thought everyone would stand up behind me, but it's not like that.
That's what the beautiful thing about Convoy was. It was like what they do, what the government does, or what the corporatocracy, the ones that have taken control of our country, is they want to isolate us, make us depressed and feel shamed and powerless. And when the Convoy happened, we stood up together, and a lot of people, the best is like the old lady on the overpass by herself. Like a lot of people stood up themselves and together. It was great. Yeah, the bullies ran. Fucking Ottawa was the lowest crime rate in history.
The initiative of the people cleaning up, setting up, because they deliberately removed garbage, locked down washrooms, and tried to create situations where they could get footage of people pissing in corners because they had nowhere to go and stuff like that. And the counter moves made. The washrooms set up in Confederation Park, the wash centers, the food setups, the warming huts, and all of that were all brilliant, awesome.
Yeah, no, when I saw that happen, it was a breath of fresh air. I was actually wrote Pat King. I'm so proud of everybody, but either way, I don't know, something happened there where it could have gone. I don't know. Either way, I'm not. Next topic.
Next topic. All right, Kirk. You're awesome, buddy. So next week we're probably going to talk. Where are we at with where's our flag in the courtroom pamphlet? Selgovae, give an update.
Well, we're covering that today. I have a body, a document that I've written up. I think the wording's correctly, and I think it captures all of the annexes that somebody should be aware of in a situation around the court, and speaking to the flag, the capacities that you are at any moment and stage going in. we're giving it a final review to see if we can actually twist her down to a simpler format.
But the problem is that it's written in legalese, like it's written in the definitions we're governed by, right? And that's
so the
most
word,
people don't understand that. That's
like
I think the problem we're having.
It's written in a common language, but your average Canadian right now, when they speak, they speak in a duality that an interpretation can be applied to it. And when a juris is applied to the way that you speak and express, with a strict control is put on that, all of a sudden that duality can be interpreted at the will of the receiver. The word fair, you could say with the intention of FAIR, and then when a juris is applied, the will of unless there's a limit upon that individual, and that's where the flag comes in, mom in court, how they interpret that could be FARE. You see, your words will be used against you. That much you do know, you've been told.
Oh, yeah.
And a juris is going to be applied. So that when you speak to them in a capacity, then, or when they come to you and speak to you, because if you go to the police and say, I need help, you're coming to them as an entity of the state. And then so you're in that situation. This is the dynamic that's different between me and Kirk. The state's attacking me, and they're doing it in a limited capacity. And in Kirk's situation, like I was too, until I got charged for being angry about it, Kirk's gone to the state and said the same thing. And an interesting thing to note is that they haven't charged Kirk. He's the stories you tell about running the border and all of this stuff, like, dude, if I did that, I'd still be waiting to get out. And so the fact that they did that was because they fear your disclosure when they say, why are you doing, what are you doing, and you speak on record, then that's what they fear. So that's why they ain't touching you. You could do jumping jacks fucking naked downtown. I don't think they're going to bother you.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because I told, I posted, I says, I could fucking go to the police station and do anything I wanted. I wouldn't do that. But this was years ago.
Right.
But it's just
because the ride that you get, I'll tell you right now, if you thought your family law stuff was expensive, the ride that you get thereafter, bro.
Oh yeah.
You're just tied down and they just kick you in the nuts, and you're just waiting for them to get tired so that you can actually maybe have enough strength and you take a swing back at them, because that's what's happening to me.
One thing to look at,
and there's people that got it worse. So just remember that. Like, I mean, I sit here and I try to present it in the way that I do, but there is people that give up. They kill themselves in this process.
There's a lot of people, like people call, like a lot of people that used to call me aren't there anymore. They're gone. They're dead. One thing to write up or look up maybe is the False Claims Act. I know you're more into that, and key tam. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but I was, of course, everything we watch is now on X or YouTube or whatever. So, and I'm not a lawyer, but look up the False Claims Act and key tam when you get a chance.
Well,
but
yeah, thank you.
So next Saturday, Selgovae, we got Sheila coming in.
Sheila, excited.
Hunter.
Yeah, Sheila, she's going to unpack about how to ask awkward questions to the people in your local councils who are trying to work at they're burning the candle at both ends. And she has the end at the municipal level well covered. And she has great information to share with people. I'm excited to hear her unpack it for us all.
I appreciate you guys showing up to work.
Happy to say I'm not friends with her on Facebook, so she hasn't ignored me yet.
Right on. Well, we'll give her a chance then, Kirk. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, it's an honor working with you and showing up twice a week like you guys have. And look we're doing good. We're doing good. Let's keep it going and let's keep learning. And much love.
Yeah, we're only trying to help Canada. It's simple as that. That's it.
The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion.